Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's all right. Let me check this and that. It's okay. Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome aboard. This is the Wednesday edition of the Shortwave Show. Let me just put this here on this side. Put this on this side. Put the chat room on that side. And here we go. Okay, so hey everybody, welcome aboard. This is the Wednesday edition of the Shortwave Show. We are live twice a week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 0 hours Universal Time. That's Thursday, technically, for a big part of the world. And we are live on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours Universal Time. We talk about radio, shortwave radio, and just radio in general, and have fun. It's a great hobby, and it's fun to share and just talk about anything that goes with long wave, medium wave, and shortwave. We, of course, are mid-December already, past mid-December. Incredible, but 2020 is this close to being over. I don't think a lot of people will complain about the fact that 2020 is this close to being over. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America, and we are here to entertain and have fun tonight. My drink of choice tonight, once again, is vodka and cranberry juice. Cheers, everybody. And, of course, whatever you're enjoying, tea, coffee, water, soda, it's fine. Don't have to have alcohol to have fun. And, of course, we are here to talk about radio. We've got some questions that we'll answer today. And we'll be checking that out. I got it actually an email. Let me just try to find my devices. Oh, well, I have my tablet, so it's going to be okay with my tablet. Here we go. We have on the email, we have Elizabeth that says hello from Regina, Saskatchewan. Enjoying the show as usual, and saying that she is ready to tune the bands and learn more about radio. So welcome aboard, Elizabeth. We have also, and these are some of the questions I'll be answering, we have Fabio, that is a fan from Italy, and he actually has a few questions. He says that he doesn't join the chat room in general, but that he does watch regularly. He says he'll be watching tonight because he works as a security guard in a hospital, and that time is sometimes very long. And I've been enjoying your Wednesday show because here in Italy, it is Thursday night in the middle of the night, and I'm actually at least having fun, passing time when nothing special is happening, watching your show on my smartphone. Thank you so much for everything you do. And here are some questions that I would like if you could answer on today's show, if possible. If not, the next show will be fine. Thanks for all you do, and thanks for helping me pass time a little quicker while I work. So that's kind of cool. So I got to, security guard is an all or nothing thing. It's like, it's either very busy and there's tons of things happening, or you might be doing the night shift with like probably super boring with nothing happening at all. And like, time just doesn't go very fast. So welcome aboard, Fabio, and we'll answer those questions and any other questions that pop up during the evening. And if you have questions, of course, hope that you enjoy the show. Okay, we have a beautiful chat room where we have amazing people that are just here to have fun with radio. And we have, of course, the a great Facebook group with the same name as the channel here, official SWL channel. And that is where the party continues when the show ends here. That's where everybody goes to continue having fun and sharing about radio, something that we love, our passion for radio. Tom DXer, nice to have you here. WPE2QED from Hudson Valley, New York. Getting hit with a big nor'easter here tonight, 12 to 18 inches of snow. And at that time, here in Montreal, we have barely a dusting of snow. And if nothing changes, it's not even sure we're going to have a white Christmas in Montreal. So that storm isn't hitting us at all here in Montreal. It's really to the east. And the last storm actually was rain all the time, so we didn't have any snow. What's interesting is that, I hope there's going to be at least a few inches. I mean, a white Christmas is kind of magical. It's kind of fun, But more and more, we're having a hard time getting a white Christmas here in Montreal, as it's not every year. And so hang in there, guys. I know I've a couple of tech podcasts that I follow that with people in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania, New York. And they're talking about all the snow they're going to get, which is pretty crazy. While here it's freezing, as right now temperature is minus 14 Celsius, which is something like 8 or 9 Fahrenheit. It's really, really cold. Last night it dropped to minus 21. I believe this morning it was minus 21 when I woke up, which is about minus 6 or 7 Fahrenheit, something like that. And of course, there's that little... so there's a stray cat that comes here, and I couldn't, of course, now with minus 20 temperatures, I can't leave her outside. In the summertime it's fine because she's like, it's warm, and even in the fall, a cat isn't that cold, and unless it's real cold. But last night I heard the stray cat meowing at the door in the back, so I opened the door. She got in, she ate. And then what I know, she's on the bed, and she's kind of lying down there, and she's like, yeah, you know what? This is kind of fun, warm and cozy. I think I'm going to stay here. And she actually spent the night, before she asked to leave this morning. So I guess she might be coming back tonight to have another night, warm night, because it's really cold outside. It's our first real cold spell, I can say, that we have in Montreal. Blind Picker, nice to have you here, Rob, in Connecticut, W0RAB, Blind Ham, and also getting ready for 2 feet of snow. James Johnson, nice to have you here from Florida, 54 Fahrenheit and stormy, WA4493. Canadian radio TV guy, nice to have you here from Western Canada. Pretty cool to have you on board. Kevin, nice to have you here from New Jersey. And hunkered down for Northeaster, mostly calling for a rain event here, playing with the new laptop, watching the show on it now. Cool. And hope that laptop goes well. Actually, this is a new laptop that I'm using right now for the shows. An Asus TUF gaming laptop. And first time that I actually go on AMD for the processor. I always bought and always purchased, as a tech guy, I always purchased Intel based computers, because they in general over time they were at least more robust and had less overheating problem. But the new Ryzen CPUs from AMD are just so really amazingly good, powerful, and just killer CPUs. That for the first time, I've finally gone to the dark side of AMD with this new laptop, which is really amazing. It's so fast, and I'm still having a lot of fun with it. And the other fun that I'm having with it is that it comes with there was a special with it. It came with 6 months of Xbox PC game pass. So for 6 months, I'm having and enjoying tons of games for free. So I've been having a lot of fun with many games that I've installed. It's just crazy how cool this is. And at the same time, it's a gaming laptop, so I'm having fun with that. And of course, after you're going to have 6 months of Xbox Game Pass, you're going to probably want to continue having that because it's like it opens, the world to so many games every month. So anyways, I'm having fun with that. It's a great laptop, 17-inch screen. I mostly changed my laptop for two things for the screen. Wanted to have a bigger screen, and I didn't want to have a desktop. I don't use desktops anymore. I got one left here, and I don't really like using a desktop anymore. And also, well, it's the fact that the Acer Nitro 5 was really nice, but it had one flaw, and it was the slow transfer rate of the drive. That meant that it was going slow when you were downloading or up. If you were upgrading something, like if it decided it wanted to update one of my games, games today are gigabytes in size. It would slow down the laptop, and it kind of annoyed me a lot. So on this one, it doesn't happen. Even if there would be a download of a game while we're doing the live show, we wouldn't even notice because it's so fast. So enjoy that new laptop. Hope you're having fun. It's there's something special about bad weather, being inside, playing with radio, and some new technology at the same time. It's kind of cool, Rufus Newt, nice to have you here from Laurentian Valley, Ontario, where it's minus 13 Celsius. Kind of pretty much the same temperatures here. The wind chill is also bad because it is cold with the wind chill here too. James Johnson, nice to have you here. Arthur's Alley Crafter's Kitchen, nice to have you on board. Getting ready also for that big snowstorm in Massachusetts. Canadian Radio TV guy. Whoops. Let me see. Have you heard? Yep. All across the Northeast. These are often, it's probably because of the cold we have, it's like pushing the storm more to the east, but there are two ways here that we get real big snowstorms in Montreal. It's either a storm that starts in the Gulf of Mexico, moves up to the Great Lakes. So in the Gulf of Mexico, of course, with the warm water, it kind of gets more powerful, gets up here. It gets over the Great Lakes, where it actually gets even more humidity, and we get dumped with a lot of snow when that happens. The other is northeasters, but the problem is to have snow here from these, they have to actually come inland a lot more. So that one that you guys are going to have is not coming inland enough for Montreal to have snow. Basically, here it's going to be sunny for the next 4 or 5 days with temperatures ranging in the minus 10 to minus 15 degrees Celsius. Pretty cold winter weather. Joe Tyson, nice to have you here from North Carolina, KM4WRQ. What else do we have? We have Bill. Love the true sound of the PL880. Was going to upgrade to the 990X, but not worth the upgrade. If you have a Texan PL880, I don't think upgrading to a PL990X is necessary, a good upgrade. It's not a bad upgrade, but it's not, you already have something that has great sound and it's a pretty good radio. So I would say, somebody that has a Texan PL660 would tell me, well, I want to upgrade to the 990X. Yeah, you got some added advantages, including that really superb single sideband tuning, which is much more interesting and precise than most portables. But when you got an 880, that's where it's like, and even also there, I often say, if you want to save some money, if Bluetooth and SD card playback isn't something that you want, get a PL 880. You're going to save some money and still have a great radio. Joe, nice to have you here from a snowy Newmarket, Virginia. Bill says Sophie wants to see Paul. Yeah, he's right here. I'm gonna show you guys Paul in a few seconds. Joe Sombranu, nice to have you here from Brazil. Pamela Militia Ketty, nice to have you here. Eric Cottrell, bonjour, hi, nice to have you on board. Waiting for the storm also. Rufus just finished orange ginger chicken stir fry. That sounds good. I had some cheese pasta, some really mac and cheese. Michael W, nice to have you here, Michael. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Tom DXer says 2020, good riddance. Let's hope that 2021 is going to be better. John Braze, nice to have you here. Martini, yeah, sure, cool, that's perfect. Jeff King, nice to have you here from Jacksonville, Florida. Temperatures will get to 40 degrees with close to freezing tomorrow. Wow. It's all the cold weather we're having up here that's going down there. Pretty crazy, eh? Pamela Militia's enjoying drinking sweet tea. Cool. Everybody saying hello to Elizabeth. Says, did you hear about the Call of Duty numbers station promo? Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Was listening to that. Actually had a post with the numbers they were sending. It's kind of cool to think that they did that. Actually, it was kind of fun. Call of Duty. I played Call of Duty a lot at a certain time, and I really enjoyed the missions and everything. It's a really cool game, and I think that was kind of cool to see that they actually had numbers. And yep, they sent people some packages that contain Texan PL 880. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Hi, Brawler. Nice to have you here from Arkansas. Joseph Figgenbaum. Nice to have you here from San Francisco Bay Area. William Helms. Nice to have you on board from Florida. Yeah, bonjour ho from the block. Yeah. David KJ4CMY, nice to have you here from rainy Central Georgia. James Johnson is in snowless Chicago, which is pretty much like that here. There's a little dusting because we had for the cold weather when it arrived, we had a little was it yesterday, the day before? It was the day before, so it was Monday. We had a few clouds come through, and it wasn't steady snow. It was just a few flurries, but it was enough to just leave a little white coating on the grass. So it's not totally without snow, but there's really not a lot of it. Jed Crafter, nice to have you here from Southern Maine. And of course, everybody be safe with the snowstorm. Of course, that's important. Nope, I don't think I'm going to have any web SDRs for Windows 95. I can tell you that. they don't have the technologies today they don't have actually what it takes to run the technologies of today. Eric Cottrell received some more non-directional beacons tonight. Yeah, I'm amazed that when you posted the list of all the non-directional beacons that he received, it was like, wow, I'm jealous. Rick, nice to have you here from Milwaukee. David says, if you don't have a white Christmas, how will Santa get to your place? Santa has different ways to And anyways, Santa is virtual this year. With COVID, it's all virtual. Canadian Radio TV guy says, I'm dreaming of a shortwave Christmas. And of course, there's so with the little musical notes. So it's like, I'm dreaming of a shortwave Christmas. A Texan PL990X or an XH Data D808 or maybe a SDR Play. I should make a song with that. I'm dreaming of an MLA 30 so I can listen to the world. That would be a great shortwave song. Mark Schmidt, nice to have you here from Maine. Al, nice to have you here from Seacliff, New York. Eric says, I remember the cold weather last year when I went to the CIDX dinner. Yeah, I remember last year. It was kind of pretty much at this time of year. The CIDX dinner was fun with their special. We almost all took the same thing at the restaurant, the Christmas special that they had. It was a lot of fun, and it was snowing that night, if I remember well. I think it was. So it was really, really a lot of fun. Wawer Sism, nice to have you here. Where are you located? Okay, Tampa, Florida. Nice to have you on board. Simon Dumas, nice to have you on board. AMD, one of us. So if you have any questions, Walrus Sims, let us know. Eric says, the advantage of being retired, no digging out and commuting after big storms. Yep, it's like doing YouTube stuff. I always joke because a friend of mine was talking, I remember one Monday morning, it was really, really, it's like we had a big rainstorm and it was like really windy and it's like it was bad outside, And I woke up, had my cup of coffee, started looking at what I'm going to do with videos for YouTube in the day, looking outside at the really bad weather. And I was like, you know what? I posted, I think, on Facebook. It was, well, you know what? Monday morning with really crappy weather outside. Man, I'm happy to work from home. James Johnson waiting on the wife to give the green light to purchase a Hallicrafters S38E. As bad as a kid at Christmas. Gotta approve. The wife's gotta approve. Central Meridian, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Rufus Newt, never owned Intel, always AMD. Yeah, I owned Intel all the time for a very simple reason. As a tech guy, the rate of failures of PCs with AMD was higher. So, and since I was repairing them, I would also see that the fan included with AMD was of inferior quality that one Intel actually has. So I always preferred Intel for a long time. It's always an Intel that I would take, even though they're more expensive. So Cal, nice to have you here from San Diego. Canadian Radio TV guy says, got a Texan PL330 arriving sometime around after Christmas. Cool. If you can live with the fact that it has a couple of little glitches, it's a cool little radio. I'm happy. And remember, when you tune single sideband, do not tune single sideband at the 10 hertz precision, because it has that reverse tuning bug. You'll be in the wrong frequency. But if you tune at 1 kilohertz interval, it doesn't do that. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. One of those weird things that you're like, how can that has had, they have that happening or something, what else do we have? Dennis Bargetzi. That should get you through the winter, even if the groundhog sees a shadow. What else do we have? Guetta Belil, bonjour et bienvenue. Nice to have you here. Kamegzi76, always preferred my desktop computer, but since my accident, when I fell out of my wheelchair, I've been using my laptop a lot more from bed. I like laptops for the purpose of the portability. You can go anywhere with your laptop. Trimbelli, Mr. Bell, is it possible to hear Western North American shortwave ATC on 8843-8891 all the way in Montreal? Yep. If it's the right time of day, it's possible. I've heard a few times on some frequencies, but at the right time, yeah, it would work. Yes, absolutely. Might not be the strongest, but it would work. They're not super powerful. It's at that distance. It's like for me to hear. So when I hear Shanwick, or if I hear one of the European ATCs, because it's pretty much the same distance, it's a much more difficult task for me than of course, Gander or New York. Mr. Lucky Train, nice to have you on board from Pennsylvania. First accumulative snow in over 1,000 days. By the way, what Facebook groups do you have? Also, what is the electronic book you mentioned with schedules and reviews? The Facebook group is Official SWL Channel, which has the same name as the YouTube channel here. And of course, it is for everybody. A lot of people that are here actually are on that group. And this is a group dedicated to radio. So if you want to share with radio and have fun with radio. Electronic publication. If you're talking about this, that I will be showing in a few seconds on my tablet. So it's the Gail Van Horn Global Radio Guide, and this is the 2021 edition. It's I think, it's very inexpensive. It's like $8.99 US, something like that. And it is electronic only. I know some people said, well, I want to have a paper copy. There's no paper copy of this. It has frequency information, schedules, a lot of explanation of, everything radio, QSL guide, anything from beacons and the long wave all the way up to all sorts of information about shortwave radio in general and so on. It's totally worth its price, I can tell you that. And so the winter edition is now released. Gail Van Horn, the Global Radio Guide, Winter 2020-2021 edition is out, and it is a great great electronic book. I purchased it on Amazon when using the Kindle app. You can have it on your tablet. Kindle app is also available on PC, Mac, and Android and iOS, so you can actually read it on your devices. Really an amazing little book. What else do we have? Eric uses a desktop with great cinematic 4K monitor, much better than a laptop for me. Yeah, it depends on how you want to do it. What I like with that, it's mostly the portable side that I like with the laptop. If I didn't need any, portable, bringing my computer anywhere around the house and stuff like that, I would probably have a desktop. But I prefer the portability. And laptops today all have HDMI outputs. So this laptop has an NVIDIA graphics GPU, which is amazing. And you can, if you really want, you can plug it into, like I could plug it into that 50-inch screen here and do some gameplay, for example, or my 70-inch in the living room, So, Wawer Sims says, "Hey, what that rabbit ear antenna that comes with the RTL SDR suck? It's not the best, but it depends what you're listening to. It kind of receives okay. It kind of receives okay with in the VHF UHF range. It's not the worst antenna. It's like telescopic antennas, so it works in the VHF UHF range. But as you go lower in frequency and go into for example, the closer down to the 30 megahertz range, that's where it becomes not very good. And on shortwave, you're better off with something else. That's for sure." Bill Curry, nice to have you here. And 8UUP, nice to have you here. Got the MLA30 on the balcony just before the light snow started. Mixed results so far with the RSP2, still fighting some intermod issues on medium wave. There shouldn't be medium wave intermod issues. Make sure that when you use the RSP that you actually activate the filter. If you're listening to shortwave or anything else, make sure that you press that little filter. There's a medium wave FM button just next to the DAB and SDR Uno. Make sure you put it on to attenuate medium wave, for sure, because especially if you live near really strong, really powerful medium wave stations. And it's not the MLA30 that's overloading, by the way. If you've got some intermod issues, it's the RSP that is having a hard time fighting the medium wave signals. Remember also you have the RF gain that you can lower to minimize that. Dennis Bargitzi says, Anonco hopes to have the H501 available in mid-January. Unless it's really amazing, or I get some way to get it cheap. It personally, I think it's totally not worth its price. And from a few people that have tested the Chinese version, what I'm hearing is that it's a Texan PL990X with 2 speakers. So, the price that they're asking for it is kind of too expensive, personally. Alien Life UK, nice to have you here from England. Mr. Lucky Train, no, I haven't looked at any of that. I was talking about that last, we were talking about that last show, either a drone or something, but I kind of haven't really looked at it seriously yet. William Helms says, love the shots of DX or Paul the Cat having the train set whistle singing him to sleep. Yeah, he's like, it's crazy. I've had a little train underneath my Christmas tree, and so I have leftover what I used, the fluffy white stuff that I used for creating kind of the snow effect in the village below the tree. I had some left, so I left it next to the tree, and Paul the Cat likes to sleep there. And it's so funny because when I actually turn on the train, he immediately goes there and kind of just lies down and falls asleep while the train is going around. It's like a magnet for the cat. He just looks at it and he's like enjoying it. Ivan, nice to have you here. Hi, Cholakov. How are you, my friend? Bill Curry has 1620 Radio Rebelde into Southeast Lower Michigan on 1620. Parallel 5025. Wow, this is cool. Dilip Bapat, nice to have you on board. And .330 SSB or 808 using same chip. Yeah, they're all using the same chip. The DSP chip used in the radios, they're all made by the same manufacturer, which is silicon integrated. And that chip is, so depending on the age of the radio, that chip had kind of revisions. So there's the 4734, and there's the 4735. So depending on the radio you have, it's one or the other. But they all are using the same DSP chip inside. That chip is amazing, but it's really with the parts you put with it that that can make it a really amazing receiver. Trim Valley, Mr. Bill, 5025, barely visible here in Portland, Oregon area. Let's check it out here. 5025. Anything here? Yeah, it's kind of weak. It's often stronger than that. Kind of weak tonight. 5025. What else do we have? Official shortwave radio at gmail.com is the best way to actually send me a little something or message if you have questions or stuff like that. Stephen Withingham, nice to have you here from the UK. Dilip VU3UEL, nice to have you on board from near Mumbai in India. Mark Bowes, which radio would receive programming in this Northeaster? XH Data D808, PL608, 330, R108, C Crane. Well, in a snowstorm and stuff like that, what you want to have is mostly local news. So medium wave and FM is your best bet. So a good, medium wave and FM radio is probably what you want. But pretty much all the radios that you just mentioned there are all pretty much, capable and really will work. Canadian Radio TV guy, watch some of the Call of Duty secret package unboxing videos from some of the big YouTube gamers. One guy got 17790 confused with 1700 medium wave and wondered why he heard Spanish music. Yeah, that's the I don't understand what I'm doing. You like the 12 days of Christmas reviews I'm doing? Yeah, more coming up. I'm going to actually post some more tomorrow, Thursday. Wanted to do some today, but something came up. It was kind of very difficult. But I will be doing more 12 days of Christmas stuff tomorrow. Actually, a lot of people came back and said, wow, it's a nice concept. It's cool. And it's funny because when I did it, at first it was the SDR in the back. And I was like, it's Christmas. I want it to look and feel Christmassy. And I don't have my my Christmas hat or anything. So I thought, well, how could it be Christmassy? And I thought, oh, how about if I put a little fireplace in the backyard, So it's kind of, kind of cool. So tomorrow is going to be more of those, for sure. Bill, why does the Ocean Technologies have a built-in battery? What is Ocean Technologies? Am I missing something here? Sidvik, nice to have you here from Gander, Newfoundland. Canadian Radio TV guy says, one guy even said it doesn't sound like static. And the PL880, he thought it was ocean wave sounds. Oh man. Um, and radio TV guy says Shell needs to make a Vivo music vid with title Shortwave Christmas. uh, Depending on the frequency you want to listen to with the RTL is the RV. If it's the V3 that you have, um, having a more dedicated VHF, UHF antenna like a Discone or something like that is better. It's going to be a better experience, and especially VHF, UHF. If you could put it outside, it's going to be the better performance. The RTL is the RV3, and VHF, UHF is actually not bad of a performer. I've received amateur satellites with it on the 2-meter band, and I've had a decent reception of the VHF UHF range. Where it is more of a hit or miss is in shortwave. In shortwave, it has tons of spurious signals and images everywhere. It's not that great on shortwave, unfortunately. But on the VHF UHF range, it actually is pretty surprising for the price. Paul Ute, nice to have you here. Paul ON7ARF. Matt, nice to have you here from Denver, Colorado. Been tuning from the start, but I was in my car, and now you're home working on dinner, so not too active, no problem. And you should have a white Christmas. Cool. Now, let's go down a little bit more. What else do we have? Just going down. Kenan Belil says, I have followed you from a little further for some time, but always with great interest. Cool. Dennis, nice to have you here, Denny. What else do we have? Rick, I have a new laptop. It was an SSD drive. How to keep it from getting fragmented? Windows automatically does the right thing. It trims it. You have nothing to do. It's automatic. Windows knows that it's a SSD, so it gets trimmed rather than being defragged. No worries. It's automatic. It does it okay. James Johnson, I have construction a block away. The power system work has made so much RFI that even the AM radio stations near 1700 had the most annoying buzz. Oh, that's sad. That is really, really sad. Kathleen, nice to have you here from Germany. Can't sleep. AMD was losing bits. The new Ryzen processor seems a good choice. Is there a limit for going up in CPU frequency? So AMD, for sure, AMD was losing with Intel processors with the i5, i7 super kind of more powerful CPUs, and it was scary because I never personally wanted AMD to ever go away, because we have seen some really nice stuff when AMD started, and with the CPUs and lower price, it brought down prices of laptops and PCs. A lot of people jumped on the cheaper stuff, and that kind of kicked Intel in the butt. And Intel came up with the Core i5, i7, and really kind of came back in the game. I like competition for that because it makes companies want to do better. And AMD was losing, and I thought AMD would maybe disappear at some point because things were not going well for a while. But when they came up with the new Ryzen CPUs, Those were killer CPUs. The one I have here, the processor that I have in here is a Ryzen 7 CPU, and it is pretty amazing. It goes up to in if it needs to like turbo boost or something like that, they're called. It goes up to 4.2 gigahertz speed. And I mean, this computer is a killer. I mean, I press the power button and I blink. I just blink and it's like I'm already at the login screen. It's like, wow, okay. And gaming has been performing amazingly well. The games are just so smooth and really, really cool. So the new Ryzen CPUs is AMD's back in the game now. And actually, they're really, really back in the game in a very intense way. And now it's Intel that is kind of scared and not going anywhere. Pretty crazy. So Joe Rodman, nice to have you here from Chicago. Joe, nice to have you here. Alien Life UK, of course, nice to have you here. Jerry DX, nice to have you on board, my friend. Canadian Radio TV guy, having fiber optic, but put in our neighborhood possibly this spring, summer. That might cause a bit of RFI. You know, here they upgraded the so on. There are two systems here that are bringing internet right now here on the street. Okay, so I am using a cable modem, so I'm on cable, which is a shielded coax. The system I use is called hybrid because it's fiber optic up to so there's a control box at the corner of the street. It's fiber optic up to the control box, but here on the street, and what's giving me internet here is still a standard coaxial cable. Which is it's good. I mean, I've got 120 megabits down and 20 megabits up, which is fine, and it's really always very solid, very very fast. The other system that there's here is I could have true fiber optic through Bell in the backyard. There's actually a cable there, so there's the standard cable for phone that was there before. But this spring, I noticed when I went outside in the backyard that there were two cables coming to the house instead of one. And the second one has a little tag on it, and it says fiber optic. So that means that technically I could have real fiber optic to my home if I would be on Bell. But I don't want to be on Bell because I was on Bell for a long time, and I always had a crappy service, and it was always really complicated. That's why I changed for cable, which I've been, in general, pretty happy with. So, it's cool. And so noise-wise, I haven't seen a difference, or I don't notice a difference because they changed or are changing their technologies here. Technically, fiber optic should not be noisy because it's light. It's not RF frequencies. Cable is RF frequencies. When my modem here connects on the cable through some frequencies. And actually, if you go into the menu inside and unplug it and plug it back, you see it go through the different channels. And it says the frequencies it's actually looking at to find that internet signal. So, but of course, it's a shielded cable. It should not technically leak, although it can, Here, it's interesting because there was a lot of leak when I arrived here because when I asked for cable internet, one of the things that was happening when I got here, we were still on the good old analog cable. So it was like the cable plugs in and directly in the TV in the back. before they changed, and now that you need that box, for receiving it. On a couple of channels, I had some snow because the signal wasn't that great. And when somewhere in 2000 and before I started live shows, I'd say somewhere in about 2008, 9, I had a problem here with internet. My cable modem would actually disconnect all the time. So it was getting very annoying. At one point, I was like, okay, what do I do? I'm going to go back to Bell because it was too annoying. My internet would disconnect at any time. It could disconnect and the modem couldn't connect back until it could be at hours before it comes back. So it's like, no, I can't live like that. And I was, doing my tech guy duties. Is like, no, the tech guy cannot have crappy internet connectivity. And there must have been a lot of RF leak because when I complained, so I called them 3 times. One time they tried stuff. Second time they sent a guy. And third time they sent the same guy that didn't even come here. He just called me and said, well, I was already there last week. I'm going to actually ask for some really higher tech to go and examine your system. And he actually made a request. And on a Sunday, that was surprising because I was looking outside, and on a Sunday morning, three huge trucks of Videotron, which is a company that gives me cable here, were outside, and there was like 10 guys. And I was like, wow, they're dead serious about fixing this. So one came here, checked the cable, and he said, wow, your signal is really weak. And so they actually, just because of my 3 complaints, redid the entire street with a fresh new cable, even to the house, even in my house. And there was a big change because the channels I had that had some snow on them in the picture, they were super clean after that. So obviously there's a lot of leak, which probably generated some RFI generally, because if there's leak, there's a radio frequency interference that's there, And it just fixed. The guy also gave me a newer generation modem. He said, look, we're going to change your modem. Your modem's like, 6 years old. We have newer generation modems today. We're going to switch it with a new one. And so, since then, I didn't have any problems. And actually, the modem I have now is 4-ish years old, maybe 5. It is maybe less than that. It was changed when I changed the service to a faster speed. Because what happened is I complained because I thought that cable and internet was too expensive. And so they actually, the person I was talking to was a higher rank at the company. She said, look, you've been a customer for a long time. I'm going to do a few, pretend that you're a new customer. And she gave me the new customer charge. But she said, for that, you need to have higher speed internet. But still, it's going to cost you less than right now because you're going to be on that with a new customer. And they had to change the modem. So it's like they changed that modem a few years ago. But overall, the noise level, RFI level, I don't see much of a difference with the newer technologies. I did always suspect that one part of the high noise I have in the backyard comes from the Bell telephone lines, with DSL modems and DSL connectivity that was on that. And I always thought, there's something about that. It must be noisy, for sure. What else do we have? Eric Cottrell, you also have to remember the West Coast ATCs on HF would tend to use frequencies that propagate over the Pacific. Yeah, actually, they are probably very directional. I never thought about that. Sorry, but I'm pretty sure that they must be very directional because, I mean, Gander and New York are operating with planes over the Atlantic. So their antennas must be made to broadcast towards the Atlantic Ocean and receive well from the Atlantic Ocean. So same thing for the West Coast. They must actually be broadcasting towards the Pacific Ocean to improve the signal. So it makes it even more difficult since I'm on the other side for sure. Erica Charles says, so they would use higher daytime frequencies when it is night in Eastern North America. It was not on 8 megahertz, but I remember hearing San Francisco ATC a few years back and being kind of surprised that I was hearing that. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember what frequency, but I don't. And I think it's one of the only times that I've received since San Francisco ATC. And somebody just, as I see the emails coming in, somebody just asked me, what's ATC? Air traffic control. Because these are frequencies, for aeronautical frequencies. So ATC is air traffic control, for those that wonder, by the way. Matt, laptops don't lose power when power goes out. Yeah, that's also something very nice. Absolutely. It's something I really, really enjoy. So, Ivan got a couple of Macintosh computers. Cool. Tom Bibish, nice to have you here from Ohio. Dan V, nice to have you here from Ohio also. Waber Sys for VHF UHF, if you can get yourself an antenna outside like a discone, is probably your best bet for that. In shortwave, I've used successfully very well, and it has the exact same good connector too, the ML830 loop that I often talk about. And that connects directly. It has an SMA connector, so it connects directly, and it works really well to give some decent shortwave on the RTL SDR V3. So, man, I haven't, Yvonne. I haven't heard of Macintosh in such a long time. Such a long time. Gita Belil, the Global Radio Guidebook contains a great deal of information. I liked to get it. Yeah, it's really, really amazing little book, and it's not expensive. I mean, if you can live with the fact that you'll read it on your PC screen or a tablet or something like that, it's really, really, really a nice, strong AM signal on 40-meter band, about 7207. 7207. Do we have anything here? Actually, I have something, but on 7205. There's something on 7205. I hear it. It's not very strong. And it would seem that it is. It just signed off at 0 UT, at 01 UT. So it was probably China Radio International here from 0 to 01 UT. We have China Radio International in Mongolian from the Beijing transmitter site. So I wouldn't be surprised that it was very weak. It was very wobbly. I wouldn't be surprised that was China Radio International on 7205. Barely making it from China towards here. Joseph Ickenbaum, nothing on 5025. WF79 Homebrew, nice to have you here from Virginia. Ice on all the antennas, long wires, sagging under the weight. That's no good. Let's hope there's not too much winds to break those antennas. Sunshine Forever, nice to have you here from Winnipeg. Do I listen to 2-meter traffic? It used to be something I liked when I started listening to scanner radios a lot. I would listen to nets and listen to the 2-meter rack chew from amateur operators. But it's something that I'll sometimes like take a peek and listen in a little bit to see who's on. 2 meters is very quiet here in Montreal compared to 20, 30 years ago. But I like to, I mostly, 2 meters for me is mostly listening to amateur radio satellite downlinks. Walrus says, can we start a Discord group? No, not really. I'm not into Discord, and I don't want to start doing all of that. I'm okay the way it is right now. Yvonne always gets a monster signal from 5025 in Florida, even at 1 p.m. daytime. Yeah, you're very close. So it's like me with CFRX. Somebody asked me a question the other day because he says, well, I see that you are saying that you're receiving CFRX at like noon, midday. Well, you always tell us that, low frequencies don't propagate in the daytime. Well, they don't in big distances. So 6 megahertz, 49 meter band will not propagate in the middle of the day from Europe to North America. Absolutely. But stations that are closer can sometimes still have even a daytime shortwave signal. And that's the case of CFRX, Toronto. For me, when the sun rises in the morning, CFRX is there almost all day. For me, CFRX will appear with a good, decent signal about an hour into sunrise throughout the day, and will start disappearing when the skip gets longer, when the sun gets closer to the sunset time. William Helms, weird how cat finds shrill sounds soothing. One continuous central nervous system like sharks. I think Paul likes the train just because. And there's another thing about Paul is, he probably likes that because if I have the train going, of course, I'm also there in the living room. So that's also the thing. 1620, Yvonne says 1620 as well, but Cuba has a bunch of transmitters on 1620, so it comes in with an echo. Oh, wow. Or JDA Dakota, nice to have you here. W80113 SWL. Randy in Riverside, California. Nice to have you on board. Howard Exotic Crafters, thinking about setting a bedside shortwave radio up, but then I will never get sleep. I use portable, so when I go to bed, if I decide I want to listen to shortwave, I'll bring one of the portables with me, the one of the day, the one that I'm using that day, for example. But I sometimes have thought, one of the crazy ideas I had at one point was, that ICOM SCR 8500 you're not using, why not put it on the bedside table and use that when you want to go to bed, and if you can't sleep at night, you can tune the bands and have it already ready. So, okay, Ocean Digital, the British company that makes Wi-Fi radios. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, it depends on what the radio is all about. But anyways, like I said, yeah, discount Wover Sims discount antenna. You got it right. For VHF UHF. Shady Power 90, nice to have you on board from British Columbia, Canada. For shortwave, an MLA 30 loop probably will work great. Mark Bose, Ludwig von Beethoven, annual return, 250 years old. Man, that guy's living old. There's that station in, was it in New York, that's having the special programming on that. Laura Robertson, nice to have you on board. And from Fort Gordon, and PL990X arrived, the deluxe package. Cool. Have fun. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. So Bill says Ocean Tech builds internet radios. They have non-replaceable batteries soldered in. Yeah. I hate companies that build electronics that have soldered batteries rather than have a way to change it. Now, lithium-ion batteries do last a pretty decent time, and you'll probably have it for many years. I would look into it if you know somebody that's kind of good at electronics and handling a soldering iron. It probably isn't that difficult to replace. It depends how it was done, because some devices are more harder than others. That reminds me of still remember a client. It's the first time I had seen that. For those that have desktop PCs, a lot of most companies used a lithium ion, not a lithium ion, a lithium CR2032 kind of battery. Like it's like a watch battery on the motherboard to keep the CMOS and keep the information from in the BIOS and the changes that you do. And I remember one day, so client says, every time I turn on the PC, it doesn't want to turn on correctly because the clock and the date is 1980. And so it's like, I got to just change the CR2032. The motherboard she had was a soldered, rechargeable NiCad. And of course, the battery died. So it wasn't, and I'm like, who got that idea of doing a soldered battery on the board? It was almost the way it was made, it was almost impossible to change. It was like, man, that company's crap. It was not, I don't remember what company made the motherboard, but it was like, what? A soldered battery for this? Come on. Canadian Radio TV guy says, anyone listening to KTMS broadcast tomorrow? So, yep, via channel 292. I'll be checking it out and trying it out tomorrow at 23 UT. So we'll be trying it out. Here on the East Coast, maybe, because 9690 Radio Exterior de España is often giving us a pretty good signal. So with a little luck, channel 292 might actually be coming in with that KTMS broadcast. Jerry X, nope. It's not snowing in Montreal. It's clear skies and minus 15 degrees Celsius. Joseph Hickenbaum, yeah. Yeah, when it wasn't automatic. And it's like, yeah, I remember my my brother-in-law on my sister's side, one day he looks at me and says, my computer's like real slow. He had the same Windows install with, I think, was Windows XP or something like that, for like 5 years, and he was doing tons of things all the time. He had never defragged the hard drive. And I remember when I looked at it and said, wow, your hard drive is fragmented like crazy. When he ran defrag, he called me back the next day and said, you know what? That thing took 14 hours to go through. I was like, well, that was really fragmented hard drive, can tell you that. Eric Cottrell, hearing some North Atlantic air traffic on 5616. Let's check it out. 5616, which is one of the frequencies of air traffic control. So 5616. Why is there no sound? Oh, here it goes. Let's put it at a very, very low. Very low here. So 56161 of the Atlantic frequencies for the air traffic, North Atlantic air traffic control. Laura Robertson, yeah, the PL990X comes with a 16 gigabyte SD card pre-installed. It's just sad, and I mean, it would have made a killer radio if they would have just had the capability of us recording on the SD card. That would have been so cool. Unfortunately, you cannot record on the SD card, which is sad. It's just a playback device. Kevin, I think I just heard my name on a Radio Havana, Cuba mailbag show. Wonder if I'm on a government watch list now. Well, if you're not back in the live shows in 2021, Kevin, well, all I can say is good luck. There's another Kevin. Kevin Awikut. Nice to have you here. Mickey Delmage, nice to have you on board from Alberta, Canada. Shitty Pyro 90 says, quite often on Radio Havana, Cuba mailbag show, Ed Newman sometimes referred me as young college student, even though I graduated in 2014. They have old files about everybody. Canadian Radio TV guy, yeah, it is expensive. The PL990 is expensive. And here in Canada with the exchange of the dollar, you kind of really want to have it because it's really, really expensive purchase. Tom DXer, I used to have an HP laptop with an AMD chip. The AMD ran hot. The damn fan was always running. That is the reason why I had Intel all the time, because that's what I was seeing as a tech guy on all of my clients' computers. Even desktops ran hot. Fans ran really, really ran all the time. That was a big AMD problem for a long time. Shitty Power 90, I think it's like $9 for shipping the PL990X. Yeah, you'll have it in like a few days. It's super quick shipping. It's pretty crazy. What else do we have? Eric Charles had to replace the SLA backup battery in the Verizon Fios unit. Yeah, you hate it when they do that, you know? What else do we have? Yeah, the 990X is not in Canadian dollars. It's in US dollars. The price is US dollars. And the lowest price is still Anonco. Douglas, where can you hear people talking about societal problems from the pandemic and other groups so we know what's happening? Just listen to Crazy Talk Show radio on AM. You got all of that. Joe, all of our service vans have systems that look for RF leaks all the time. It records readings with latitude, longitude. Every day when they pull into the shop, it uploads to a system that crunches the info. Interesting. Joseph says, wow, this is some excellent cable service. It has to, because they're super expensive. My cable, so just to give you guys an idea, 120 megabits up, 20 megabits down. That's my internet. And the only other service I have with unlimited download, so I have no limits. You know, I can download as many gigabytes as I want every month. That plus my cable service has, maybe I've got like 60 channels, 60 or 70 different channels. Of course, of which it's like that Bruce Springsteen song, 57 channels and nothing on. There's barely something that I actually watch. And I end up going into the Smart TVs app and going to Netflix or Amazon Prime or YouTube or, you know, most of the time. Those two together, when my new client rebate expires, and it's going to expire in 2021, it should expire somewhere in the month of May, I should be paying the beautiful price of about 225 Canadian dollars per month for that service. So they better have a million guys in the street with 3 trucks when there's a problem at that price. I can tell you that. Ivan says, my cable connection always needs an amplifier. One of the guys was really nice. He told me that one of the reasons I had problems back then also was that the cable that brought me internet and cable here was very, very long. And I was the last, I'm the last customer I'm at the end of the cable. It's like, you know, they decide that the cable is going to be this long. I'm at the end. I'm the last customer at the end. So he said, you're the last customer. You have the weakest signal of everybody with that connection. You're the last customer. But they did a big upgrade of the system. They put a amplifier box at the end of the street here. So there's a lot of stuff that changed. One day I looked at I was taking a walk, and I looked at the pole in the one of the power poles at the end of the street, and I said, "Well, what's that big box?" And I started looking at the big box that was screwed to the wooden pole, and it was like, oh, look at that, it's cable. So they probably added like amplifiers and did a lot of stuff to make everything better. So what else do we have? Nick, K9XN, Northwest Indiana, USA. Shitty Paro 90, $244 total. FPL 990X ship in Canada. From where? Because I would be wary of that price. Nobody has it below 200 US, which is 300 and some Canadian dollars almost, with shipping and everything. So where's that price, 244, that you get? Itabelil says, I'm with Videotron and I have a Wi-Fi network built with Netgear and 2 satellites recently and love it. It's so funny because they call me all the time because they want me to change my router with their own router. And I'm like, no, my router is super performance. I want my router. I don't want to have yours. I want to use mine. SoCal, here's 8843 from San Francisco, often talking to planes. RJDA Dakota, and RF leak also causes major noise all across certain meter bands. Yeah, absolutely. Lowenstein says, did you ever speak to space? Well, I don't have a ham license, but some people do. Sometimes the International Space Station do have amateur contacts. But I did hear the International Space Station very often. And actually, there's a event coming up, a Slow Scan TV event, from December 24th to December 31st. There's a Slow Scan TV event on 145-800 for those that want to decode Slow Scan TV images. And there's a repeater, yes, that is also available that has a downlink of 437-800. Sidvic says Gander Radio uses folded dipole antennas with ladder line feed lines. They are 8 towers, therefore HF, all oriented to favor the northeast. I'd expect they are in the range of 120 degrees. Yeah, it's really to maximize the strength of signal over the Atlantic Ocean, which is the area they're covering, actually. Rifleman 336, nice to have you here, and 8UCN in icy Southwest Ohio. What else do we have? Joseph Ickenbaum picking up an unlisted station on 15160 01 UT Conicom in California. 15160. What do we have at 15160 here? 15160. It probably is China Radio International. Is it, and does it sound Chinese? Because it says here in Mandarin. So if it's Chinese, you're getting China Radio International from China, which would not surprise me on the West Coast at this time, crossing the Pacific Ocean. WS7I Ombrew 7205 AM was strung here in Virginia just before sign-off. Yeah, it's probably China. So it's just China Radio International. Sunshine Forever. No, I've not tried the Texan H501, and I'm not sure I would try it. It's expensive, and from a couple of accounts that I've seen it, and I don't know if it's true, but a lot say, well, it's a Texan PL990X with 2 speakers. Tony Sirma, nice to have you on board. Just missed the big northeaster by several miles. Nice to have you here from Philadelphia. So, Carlos Aguila, nice to have you here. Yay, Tom Belil, Radio Marti, 7435. Yep, that's a pretty good one. There should be, let's check it out here, 6130 Radio. Well, it's not very strong, eh? Radio Romania, 6130. Not very strong, Radio Romania, and there's interference from 6125. Shady Power 90, 6030, Radio Marti. I haven't heard the Havana buzzing jammer yet. Yeah, it depends on propagation. Sometimes it's there, prominent. Sometimes it's almost impossible to hear. SoCal says there's a site that has all the HF aircraft communication frequencies. Yeah, absolutely. They do have all the frequencies. There's I'll post a link here. There's a place which is the Moara frequencies. Here's a link. This is the best reference for all the routes and frequencies used by aeronautical communications. So if you guys want to listen to airplanes and air traffic control over Atlantic, Pacific, or different routes, this is a great website for all the frequencies used. With every ATC from North America, East Coast, West Coast, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia. Everything is in there. It's very complete. With all the different stations also, because you got to remember, if you're listening on, so for example, you're listening to frequencies in North America, East Coast, and you're hearing Gander, for example. You might also be hearing others, because on the same frequency, sometimes you have Gander, you could have Reykjavik in Iceland, you can have Shanwick in the UK, and so on. There are several stations that actually provide a complete control and air traffic control of, for example, North Atlantic Ocean. And there's, it's interesting. And air traffic is slowly coming a little better, because what's happening with the pandemic, as somebody was telling me one day, he says, the HF bands, I'm not hearing a lot of planes. Are they moving to another system? Quick answer, yes, there are some move to a new satellite system, which means HF aeronautical communications are slowly going to move away from HF. But this year, the lack of HF communications on the aerial band is mostly because of COVID. There's just no planes in the sky compared to the year before. So less planes means less communications, Thomas Olson, nice to have you here. Not sure why, but the RFI has been a little better of late in Baltimore. So received 2-3 inches of sloppy snow this afternoon. Yeah, maybe that neighbor that had a crappy something just like changed or bought something new, or there's a lot of DRF that we don't control. Unfortunately, we can't. It doesn't always come from our own homes. Carlos Aguila, San Francisco Bay, living in central Mexico. Don't forget to make a signal to noise ratio. Yes, absolutely. I was actually thinking of that today, and it'll be one of my priority videos. Tomorrow I want to do 12 days of Christmas videos, and I will do that signal to noise ratio. You're not the only one asking that, because a lot of people want to have more more information on what exactly does it mean when we're looking at that signal to noise ratio on the portable receivers. Patrick Moore says, good evening. Wondering if magnet wire through the woods at 90-degree angle, 1,000 feet or so, would be any more resonant for lower frequencies, or should I just try a good loop antenna? Well, if you would have a really, really, really long antenna like that, which becomes, at that length, it becomes what we call a beverage. One thing, it becomes very directional. The other thing is that in very low frequencies, it should be pretty amazing to receive signals if it's not noisy where you put it. If it's noisy, then you would have to, it's better, a loop would be better. Carlos Aguilas, New Zealand coming in super strong. Went out, I even went outside to check on my antenna, thinking someone was playing with me. So pretty cool. No problem, Shady Pyro 90. Monkey Man, yep, CR2032 lithium battery. Absolutely. Bill Curry, raise a glass to all my fellow techies. Patrick Moore, what do we have? No, nickel cadmium batteries are really crappy. It's the other way around, Monkey Man. Nickel cadmium, they have memory effect problems. They and if they're not properly taken care of, they just don't last. Newer technologies are so much better in that. Like nickel metal hydride is already a step up, but nickel cadmium has one advantage. You want to have a really, really powerful bang of power, they are heavy duty, high power batteries, though. Rufus replaced the tons of soldered 2032s, replaced with a holder for 2022. Yeah, I've seen actually, I remember seeing a lot of videos of of replacement and placing holders to actually have a regular 2032 that can be changed. Aerial imaging, nice to have you on board, and hope you're having a nice time at work. David, KJ4CMY says, need to give a thumbs up. Yes. Monkey Man says, not common when manufacturers due to cost. Yeah. And, it's just crazy that they still use that. I remember at one point thinking, why don't the manufacturers just have, the clock? Okay, I understand that the clock needs to run, but I don't know. It's crazy. And how many times I've, the tech guys that know nothing. I don't know how many times I went to fix a computer. One of my clients, she was an old lady. She was like 80 years old. And I remember she, I fixed a computer a couple of times and she was super happy. And she's a kind, she's 80, but she's the kind of woman that, she wants to see if what you said is true. If you tell her about a part, she wanted to see the part. She wanted to see where it was. She wasn't, she was kind of really like, I want to make sure you're not screwing me up, and God knows, tech guys, there's so many of them that are screw everybody out there. It's crazy. And she had lost my phone number and she couldn't find it. And I remember one day I get a call and she's like, well, I remembered that I had your phone number from that billboard at that place. I went back there and you were there on the billboard again. And she called me and she said, can you come and check my computer? And so, of course, desktop computer. She says, so I had this guy come in and he said that my PC was crap and that I needed to replace it. And he was trying to sell me a $2,000 computer. So she says, I was thinking of you and I was like, no, I want him to look at my computer because he's the guy I trust. And I looked at the computer, turned it on. I looked at and I saw that the clock was out of, the clock, the date, everything was off. It was like, okay, you need to replace the battery. So I look at her and I said, nope. So your computer's fine. You just need to replace a battery that's on the motherboard. And I remember I told her, it's like, it's $5 for the battery. And she says, so there's a battery in the computer. And with the way she was always like saying that, so there's a battery in the computer. And I, took the cover off and I showed her, I said, look, she says, oh, it's like a watch battery. I said, yeah, exactly. But the battery's dead. That's why your computer is not booting up properly, because all the settings are messed up every time you shut it down. And so changed the battery, powered up, everything was fine. And we rebooted a few times because she wanted to make sure that, yeah, okay, well, no, shut it down and start it again. It's like, yeah, no problem. He says, why did that guy want to sell me a new computer and not know that? I said two things. It could be an innocent way of, he just doesn't know computers. And because of that, he doesn't know that there's a battery on the motherboard, and he thought the computer was messed up. There could be that. But then again, you could have just said, well, I can change the motherboard or something. And I said, the other one is, well, like a lot of tech guys that I've seen, they are trying to screw you over, and he was trying to sell you a computer. Pretty crazy. Oh, man. Patrick Moore. I was using old telephone pair cable, and I love it, but ran out. So awesome to be here with others. Pretty cool. Nice to have you here. TVDXer. Salut, bonjour, ça va bien? J'espère que tu vas bien toi aussi. Nice to have you on board, TVDXer. Prasad from India. Nice to have you here. Hope you are well, my friend. Let me just check it out. Check it out. I lost my space. Okay. Dr. Sysop has WTWW on 5085. Let's check out the signal here. 5085. Oh, it was off. Yeah, they're not super strong. Winter is the big problem for me, is all these stations in the US that are not too far away. WTWW, WWCR. It's kind of the crappy time for me because the propagation makes the signal kind of jump over my location. It's like the propagation, the signal bounces are kind of bigger. So it's just like skipping over me. Agent Smith, I heard a ham radio superstation from the Canary Islands on YouTube say the Canary Islands is the best place in the world for shortwave. Is there such a thing? What I would say about shortwave, we know that big bodies of water are definitely helpful in making radio propagation of signals better. And very, very often, people that live near the coast often enjoy more or better propagation of a lot of signals than people that live inland. So without saying that it's the best place in the world for shortwave, if it's low noise and you live on an island in the middle of the ocean, it's probably, yes, a great place for shortwave radio. I'm not going to say that Canary Islands are necessarily better. I would say that anybody living on an island in the ocean that has low noise probably enjoys amazing propagation for sure. For sure. Ronald Jorgensen. Nice to have you here, Ronald. But you got to be careful where you buy your PL990. It has to be the X version. Make sure it's the X version if you buy an X version. Because a lot of the sellers actually sell the 990X, especially the Chinese sellers. And they sell the internal, the Chinese version that is still on an older firmware. So just make sure that you are getting the real deal production unit. Dr. Sysop. Nope, no snow here. The storm is really into the east. So here it's really cold, -14, -15 Celsius. It's so my weather station right now says it's -14.5 Celsius, and the wind chill on the next display because of the wind outside, -24 degrees Celsius with the wind chill. Pretty crazy. Steve King, $525 for the PL990 in Australia. It's not, I mean, I like it, but it's not worth at all the price. Yeah, all air traffic control is in upper sideband. Absolutely. Yeah, Civic, Santa Marino, and so on. There's a lot of different stations that can be there. WF7I Homebrew, Voice of Iran, 5980 in Virginia. 5980. Do I hear something? Yeah, in Spanish. Yeah, decent. So, Voice of Iran in Spanish with a decent signal. It's towards South America on 5980 in Spanish. Pretty cool. Santa Maria, yep. Yeah, I promise tomorrow the videos are going to be posted. The signal to noise ratio. I'll be doing that. Nick loves the 12 Days of Christmas videos. I saw the one on the PL990X and the XHD808. Nice short videos with good info. Yeah, the idea behind the 12 Days of Christmas is I'll give you the most important information quickly, but I don't want to do a 15-minute video on something. I want to actually have it as short as possible, but with everything you need to know if you need to buy one of those radios. Keegan, XN80Xer, nice to have you here in Northwest Arkansas, 31 Fahrenheit over there. Yeah, beverage antennas with high ohm resistor at the end. Absolutely. As Matt says. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? Let me just go down. KW1161, nice to have you here from Tucson, Arizona. Paul in UK, 2E0MPG, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Cool Activity Xer. Jason Francis, nice to have you here from Ottawa. WF7I says, Homebrew says, interesting show on 5850 right now. Music from Northern Europe program. Let's see the program if it comes in well. Yeah, some music, 5850. Chumley Page. Snowing here in the USA East Coast. Yep, that big storm. Civic loves spring and summer radio propagation more than fall and winter. That has a lot to do often with the times also that we have available for listening. When you work a 9-to-5 job, a regular job, depending on your schedule, we have specific times wherein it's possible to listen. And often it defines also a specific time where it's better for us around a year to listen to shortwave for the signals we get. Bonne nuit, TVDXer, SMZ. What else do we have? We try to go down. Nick, Radio Slovakia on 5850. Playing interesting music. Yeah, Slovakia is usually the station on 5850 at this time. Um, mm, 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 mm. What else do we have? Oh, Mang Mang, nice to have you here from Florida. And we're at the bottom. We're at the bottom. What is the other mic for Gilles on radio speaker? Where's the other mic of what? I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So I have the USB mic there, and I have the console mic here. So I don't know if you. That's what I use for the USB. Yeah, so that's what I use for the USB videos. So for the USB videos, for the YouTube videos, it's the USB mic. So for the YouTube channel, when I make videos, I use that one most of the time. It's going to be easier to set up, and I use the console mostly for the live shows and for recording the international radio report in general. So it depends on the setup that I'm, it's how easy it is to set up, and depending on the connections that I have available. So, but usually for me, this is the quick. I just plug in and it's working. Compared to the console where it's I plug in, but you got to play with the settings and the volume controls. Sid Vic says, I think you have radio propagation nailed. I'm a daylight radio listener. When it's dark, I either want to work or sleep. Yeah, I think because that's pretty much how we react. When I used to do a 9 to 5 job, I would listen in the evening mostly, except for a little bit of weekend. And one of the biggest things is because you listen only in the evening. Well, the time of year is it's going to decide if it's fun or not. And if I would be doing that still today, I would probably prefer summer, because summer evenings have better propagation to Europe and a lot of places. Plus, you get Radio New Zealand and all of that here. Then I would probably enjoy winter, because long nights of winter here make it kind of not as interesting very often in evening, if that's the only time period you have. So I would probably say, from spring to summer to early fall, but not really say that winter is necessarily good because of that time frame that I'm listening to. So, what else do we have? Michael Hapsher, nice to have you here from California. Nice to have you here. Jim F, nice to have you here, Jim. Nice to have you on board. Willie Trouble 88, nice to have you on board from Eastern Iowa. Thanks for the nice comments. Omar Armang just got a $40. No, an S40. I thought it was $40. An S40 Alleycrafters, completely restored from eBay. Look like it's brand new. Now I need a new antenna. Cool. So Jim is VE7COJ from Vancouver. Nice to have you on board. It's fun to have people all over the place. We're going to, I'm just going to pause the chat room here, and we're going to go through some of Fabio questions. Fabio in Italy sent a series of questions about shortwave radio in general. So Fabio is in Italy, and he is actually watching. He's for those that missed, security guard in Italy, works the night shift. So that's why he's watching this show at this time, even though it's the middle of the night over there. So his first question is regarding simply, if so, the first question is simply regarding me and how I started this. So he says, I've been watching your show for several weeks now. And one question that I want to ask is, how did you start this live show? What gave you the idea of doing a shortwave or radio related live show? So that question comes from the people that watch my channel. When I started doing the shortwave channel here, I thought I would do videos, and that's it. And I never it at the beginning never did it come to my mind that I would do some live streaming, some live shows. And what happened is I was doing videos, and somebody, I don't remember who, but somebody watching my videos at the time in the comments said, it'd be so cool if you would do live shows where we tune shortwave, and you could answer questions with the knowledge you have and so on. And I thought, well, a live show, I never thought of that. But it took a little while before I decided to really do it, because I wasn't necessarily ready at first. It's like, yeah, people are going to watch me live. And even though at that point in time, I was not, like today, I'm not much of a shy guy. I used to be very, very shy and very, very in my little bubble, but that broke through with several things that I did. My work, where I had to talk to everybody, karaoke, where I sang a lot of songs in front of audience. All of that together kind of broke that shyness that I had with talking and doing stuff live. And but still, it was, it's still something that you got, I'm going to be live, people are going to be watching. It's kind of, terrifying in one way. And what happened is I decided to jump and try it. And back then it was with Google Hangouts, for those that were there in the beginning. And it was so funny because my ICOM, my CR8500, was in the kitchen on the dryer, because that was the place where it was better reception, and the short coax from outside. Crappy webcam, no lighting, really, nothing, to make it really nice. And I did the first one. I was terrified. I don't know how many people watched. I don't remember how many people actually watched that day, like 10, 15 people maybe. And that kind of started all. And I started doing live shows, and then you as you do live shows, you start investing in equipment and investing in and having everything a little better. So that's how it came to be what it is today. And then regular schedule and having live shows. And I actually had live shows on other channels. I had a live show on the Windows channel where I would answer tech questions from people. I had a Windows Insider live show. I had this show here. I used to have a schedule of many shows a week. But live shows have one thing that is a problem, is that they are very demanding. So it might look easy, and for me it is fairly easy, but still you gotta entertain. You gotta be there for hours talking to people, and you gotta have something to say, something to talk about. So it is something that takes a big part of your time, and you gotta be there. You gotta have presence. You gotta talk. You can't just, stare at the screen and not say a word for like 20 minutes. It doesn't work like that. And so I did find that I have a talent in talking and entertaining and always having something to say. Of course, the chat room helps a lot because the questions and what people have to say. And I like to say hello to everybody also at the same time. And I think people like that, I take the time to say hello to them also. And it became what it is today. And, slowly we're improving. I purchased an HD camera. I have lighting systems so that, I look beautiful. Hopefully. It's just when I see people saying, well, you're on my 50-inch screen. It's like, oh, man, I don't want to see that. It's some of those things that you're like, yeah, I'd rather not see that. But it came to be, and today I only have the shortwave shows. Starting in 2021, we'll have a once a month VHF UHF show. I still don't plan to do live shows on the Windows channel. For some reason, I don't have the drive and the time. Also, I post a lot of videos every day, every week. It takes a lot of time. It's my work. This is my work. My paycheck is YouTube, and you gotta want, because it's a lot of things that you got to do, and a lot of time dedicated to what I do. Question number 2 from Fabio is, what's the best receiver you ever owned? What's the crappiest receiver you ever owned? And is there a receiver that you owned that you departed with, sold, or it broke down, or you threw away, that you miss? So, best receiver ever owned. You know what? I don't like this is the best radio in the world thing. I'm more into, there are several really good and great radios out there. So, as radios that I've owned that are great, at the top end, Kenwood R5000, I loved. I still own the ICOM ICRD 500 that I love. SDR Play RSPDX, amazing. This is amazing for the price, an amazing SDR that is just so cool to own and work with. Portables, Grenadier G5, Texan PL680, the XH D808, the Texan PL990X is my new little baby that I really love. But there's a lot of great little portables and great radios out there. And like I say, I don't like to just pinpoint one and say that's the best. Especially also because here, if I say that, people tend to want to buy that. And I'm just going to say a lot of radios are great, and that's mostly where I am. Crappiest radio that I've ever owned. I got quite a few, but there's the Reticus TR. What TR? I see it here, like the 608 or 60 something. That's the crappiest thing I've ever seen. The batteries don't even fit in the battery compartment. What else do we have? There's a lot. The Q9 or Q something or QFX little portables, very small portables are crappy. One is called Happy, the Happy C something. Oh man, that is such a bad radio. The one that is oh man, there's a lot of crappy stuff out there, but most of them are the cheap ones. The one that I am the most probably where that made me that deceived me the most was a DGen receiver. So I owned a DGen 1103 for a long time, and there's one that I purchased which was more expensive, which was the DGen 1106. Nice big LCD display, RDS, all of that. Sync detection. Was the first, I think it was the first radio with sync detection I've ever owned. And one of the biggest problems is that, man, I was so sad of how it isn't a good performer. I was so sad at how that thing, for the price that I paid, was not a great radio. Unfortunately. When you pay $10 for a radio, you'll kind of think, well, That's the way it is. But when you pay $100 for a radio, you don't expect it to be crappy. By the way, guys, just for a few seconds, I will have Paul the Cat. And while Paul the Cat is showing, I will talk about radios that I don't have anymore that I miss. So as you guys see Paul the Cat, So I do miss most of the portables that I had in the 80s. I had a Panasonic RFB 2200 or 2800, something like that. 2800. Panasonic RF 2800, I think it was. I had a Panasonic RFB 300 portable. I had a Realistic DX302 desktop, which was my second radio I've ever owned in my life. I miss those radios. I totally miss them. I never should have departed or sold them. They would have had a great place here in my collection. I totally miss the fact that they are gone from my collection of radios. So these are the radios that I miss mostly. So we are back. Let's try Let's try not to break anything. So that was Paul the Cat, the star of the show. I'll go down and we'll continue the questions after I've gone down the chat room again. Okay. What else do we have? Aerial imaging. Can you talk about antenna tuners for shortwave HF listening? It's been discussed in the group lately. Do you recommend input one in line between my parent fence shortwave and my radio? So here's the thing. Yes, for sure that a antenna tuner, the manual type, by the way, not the automatic type. Paul the Cat wants attention. They do improve. I mean, think about an antenna tuner. So it's there to match the resonance of that antenna with what you're listening to. So of course, there is some improvement, okay, in HF and in listening. Some use them and some have, they'll say, well, they get a couple of S units more of a signal when it's properly tuned. So it's not it doesn't work. It does. But for reception, an antenna tuner is an optional thing. It, yes, will probably work and give you a little more signal when it's properly tuned. But will it give you that DX that you can't have, that you don't have? That's another story. Maybe not. And if you have one, cool, because it's not zero. It will improve and help you. But it's for reception. It's not the same as for transmission. When you use a transceiver, having perfect resonation, when your antenna resonates perfectly, is tuned perfectly, that's super important for transmission, for having the best and the biggest signal around. But in reception, even though like I just said, it does work, it's not as important as a device to have. So Jim from snowy Rhode Island, Danny, shortwave radio DX from snowy Yonkers, New York. Chuck, CP Davis, hearing music on 87.7 FM in Minneapolis, loud and clear. I have no idea where it's coming from. Can't pick it up on my car radio. couple of things could be happening. You could be having an overload of another signal on FM on the band. So tune your car radio and search for the same music or the same whatever that you're listening to. Maybe it's just your radio overloading on an FM broadcast. Or the other thing is on the low frequencies there's a lot of wireless transmitters, low power wireless transmitters that can be used sometimes to, and low power means if they're not in the same spot, maybe they're not receiving the same thing. A lot of things. Shitty Power 90 says 73. Take care, my friend. Always nice to go to see you on board. 73 WF7I Homebrew. Michael Absher has it's 60 meters. WTWW is on 60 meter band, not 80 meters. What else do we have? Jim F would like to see more of the antennas and that you use, and also the coax. Well, the MLA30 is very simple. It's the MLA30 loop with its own little coax coming in. The W6LVP is I have an RG58 coax coming in. The only antenna of interest maybe for shortwave would be my sloper in the backyard and how I actually bring that signal in. Danny Shortwave Radio DX got the first question. I believe it was Tom Stahl suggested you do live stream after you hit the 1,000 sub mark. I remember the comment. It was way before I started my channel. It could be Tom Stahl's. I remember somebody had said, you should do a live show, but I don't remember who had suggested that. Michael Absher says, ever listen to a Yaesu FRG7? Yeah, that's a well-known radio. I never owned one, but yeah, of course. It's one of the popular desktops out there. Everybody's saying hello to Paul the Cat. HFSDR radio. Look on eBay. I found some of my old radios on eBay. Yeah, I know. There's probably some of them. The problem with eBay is it's just so crazy, the prices that they're asking for old radios. I'm not going to pay $200 for an old portable that I owned in 1985 that wasn't even that price at the time, But yeah, I maybe I should check out. Maybe I'll find. I think Hamfests are probably the best place for that. John McClure, nice to have you here. Canadian Radio TV guy found this link for an Amazon and ad. It's a Kobe CXTV 5-inch black and white TV with an AM FM radio, just a piece of Chino junk that's overpriced at $90. Kind of interesting. This kind of thing is still on the market. Wow. I hope it's HD TV with an ATSC tuner. What else do we have? Jim F. How about an antenna tuner in combination with a radio that has a built-in tuner? Do they make shortwave receiver that have one? The antenna tuners, built-in antenna tuners, are reserved for transceivers because it is where it's important to have resonance and where it's important to have the best match with the antenna. But there are no receivers only that have antenna tuners. Could be a neighbor with a transmitter. Yes, absolutely. Aerial imaging. Yeah, the Hang Rong Prasad. Yeah, that's a pretty crappy one for me also. I can tell you that. Harry Anderson, good shortwave antenna for a boat. An MLA 30 probably is amazing. If you have a decent boat in size, the MLA 30 would be great. I mean, even in a canoe with a power bank, it would probably work. So, or as Celine Dion likes to say, take a kayak. But if you have a decent sized boat, an MLA 30 would work great, probably. Willie Trouble 88 says, I have a Texan PL 880 with the antenna clipped into the gutter of my house. Wonderful reception. Yeah, it's surprising. It's surprising what very simple things sometimes do wonders in reception and work great. Others out of Crafter's Kitchen. FRG7 is a fun radio capable of amazing performance. It's not a $400 radio, as what eBay sellers ask for them. It may be a $200 set. I mean, here at the Hamfest, there was a couple that were sold for like $75. I would not. I would even have a hard time paying $200 for one, but it's crazy. What else do we have? What else do we have? Keegan says that some personal FM transmitter. Yeah, I've seen some go down to 87 something also. So that's possible. Thomas Olson, 5850, coming in fair here with 2 spotty, but music on 5840. Other question from our friend Fabio. Other question. So his question is, I'm just going to unlock. What the hell? Here we go. One too many zeros. Okay. Question is, next question is, I have an amazing amount of noise and cannot listen from my home, and would like to ask if that MLA 30 antenna you speak of would give me that possibility. I love listening to shortwave broadcasts. Unfortunately, I am stuck at always going to the local park or going camping or having fun far away from the city in order to actually listen to any stations. I would like to know if an MLA 30 really would make a difference. To give you an idea, even the strongest shortwave stations are barely audible because of the noise that I have. That's a tough question because the MLA 30, I always like to say, is great. It lowers noise and brings a lot of signals, but it's not a miracle antenna at the same time. And what happens is that an MLA 30 will maybe give you that possibility, yes. But you'll have to try it because it still will get some noise. And depending on how strong the noise is and where you put it, it might not be a solution also at the same time. If you have the money and for you spending 40, 50-ish US dollars is not a big problem, I would definitely buy one and try it. Because it's probably your best option. If that doesn't work, nothing will work, and you're probably going to be stuck listening, outside of your home. And it's sad, but for a lot of us, the hobby is now a hobby where you have to be somewhere else, which is, I consider myself still lucky, even though I have a high noise level. I still can DX. I still can listen to some of the broadcasts. At least that's the thing. It's a very, very difficult situation, and I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. So it's kind of tough. Question again. So question is, so he says that he owns a Texan PL 660 as a portable receiver, and he owns a Yaesu FRG 7700 as a desktop receiver. He says, because of the fact that I have to go outside my home to listen, I've not turned on the Yaesu in a long time. It is sad because I would really love to use it. Is there a way to take that desktop receiver and power it in some way so I can actually use it somewhere else if I would want to do so? And what would I use as a power source? So I don't know what are the connectors. I don't know if somebody that maybe has one right now in the show could tell me what connectors. But a lot of the desktop receivers at the time had an input where you could actually plug in 12 volts or other than the mains power source. They often have another way of powering them, because what was common back then is the expeditions. People would take their desktop and go somewhere with it. My ICOM ICRD 500, for example, has a 12 volts input. If I go somewhere, I can actually power it off of a battery, for example. What would you use to power it? You can power it maybe with with your car. So there's probably a way to power it with a cord that you would plug into, like what used to be the cigarette lighters, but it's like the power sources now. That could maybe be a way and to do it. If you're not near your car, one cheap option that often is used, and I have two of them here, what we call lead acid batteries. There are some big lead acid batteries that are not very expensive that you can charge, and that could give you quite a decent amount of hours DXing before you have to recharge them. That would be a way to power it, maybe with if you go out, if you go camping or you go somewhere. There probably is a way on the FRG 7700 to power it with an external connector, for sure. But it's just the biggest problem. It's sad to see that you can't use your favorite desktop radio because there's too much noise where you live. So that's the sad thing about it. Noise is a huge, one problem in our hobby. When I get people saying, "Hey, I can't get anything on my radio. I think it's broken or whatever." No, there's just too much noise around you. The sad side of our hobby is that noise is crazy, but it's pretty crazy. RJ88 Dakota says, if I want to listen to shortwave, I have to go outside to the work shed to receive any stations. Gives you an idea of how the noise level is so high now that you have to go and go somewhere else. I remember when I would do a lot of the expeditions to Perry Island, how I found it sad that I would go to Perry Island, hear all of these stations, and that's the funny part, is that stations don't have to be full scale on the S meter to actually work. So Roughest Newt says the 7700 is mains only. Oh, that's sad. That means you're stuck. That means you're pretty much stuck in using it at home. Thanks for the answer, because I have no idea what type of connections are available on the 7700. So you'll be stuck listening to a portable. The good news, that Texan PL 660 will receive pretty much anything that 7700 would receive anyways. It's just that, yeah, it's a different radio. It's a portable. But when I would go to Perry Island, is that it shows you that a signal that is just average when you're in quiet conditions is super easy to listen to and comfortable to listen to, and doesn't have really a lot of noise on it. And that's where you see that when you're at the noise level of your home, the stations are there. They're just washed out in the noise. But you go somewhere where it's quiet and you notice that, well, no, stations are easily here. Even when they're not very strong, they're super easy to listen to the program. Danny, Shortwave Radio DX. For the FRG 7700, I would use an inverter and use the AC. The DC option is too much of an option. Inverters are cheap. Yeah, but the problem is inverters are very noisy in general. I have seen a few inverters over time with radios, and inverters are dreadfully noisy most of the time. So I'm not sure that's necessarily a good option. Really not sure that's necessarily a good option. It could be something to try, but I have a hard time thinking that it would work well. So that's tough. That's a tough thing. And his last question is, I would like to purchase a new portable receiver, and because I want to have two of them. So the question is not that I necessarily want to have. The question is not that I want to have a better radio. It's mostly I want to have a second radio. I thought of purchasing a second Texan PL 660 because I love it so much. But I wanted to ask you this question. If I wanted to buy a second radio, which one would you actually say is a good choice? And my budget is pretty much unlimited. It doesn't matter the price. So what portable would you tell me to buy? Considering whatever price it is, I'll be okay. What I would do as a second radio for shortwave is buy. Even though you could be tempted at buying the same radio because the radio itself is good. If you have to buy a second radio, I would buy something else. I would buy something different. Now, you're on a PL 660, which means that when you tune around, it doesn't mute. It's a PLL synthesized analog receiver. If that's what you would actually want to have, something that doesn't mute and that is a decent receiver. Two choices come to mind that I would say are great. The Texan PL 880, which is great, has great sound, doesn't mute, and is a great performer. It is a step up from the Texan PL 660. Even better, if you have a smartphone and listen to programs on it, you could actually buy a Texan PL 990X, which is a little more expensive, but is a great performer, doesn't mute, is superb in tuning amateur radio single sideband and utilities. But the 880 is also superb in doing that. But you have the added bonus of Bluetooth playback, using it as a speaker if you want. And it can play files from an SD card also at the same time. So these are options. I would probably, D options, if price is no object to you, D options for me would be as a portable radio, Texan PL 880 or 990X. You would have a great radio. It's a little bigger, but you have great receivers. If Muting isn't that much of a problem, and you don't want to spend too much money, even though you can spend a lot. XH Data D808 is a great choice. Really an amazing radio. It's just that when you tune with the tuning knob, it mutes for a fraction of a second. The audio cuts out. It could be annoying when you tune around. That's for sure. But man, it's I would, with price being not an object, buy Texan PL990X directly. I'd go at that radio directly. You're going to be really happy. Really happy, I'm pretty sure. Otter's Crafter's Kitchen inverters would add noise. Could also try using different AC outlets through the house or trying to power down routers, Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's something that you should try. One of the things you should try for noise is to make sure that it doesn't come from your home by unplugging everything, making sure that maybe you can pinpoint something. Sometimes the noise could be from a cheap, a little device that has a cheap switching power supply. It craps out everything, and when you unplug it, you notice that your home isn't that bad of a place for shortwave suddenly. So that could be something to check out for sure. Maybe go around your house and check the noise levels by unplugging everything. That I think could be a very interesting thing to try out for sure. Aerial imaging, get a UPS that has sine wave output, basically armpit battery. I use one to power my radio at home, and I kill my house power breaker to really get quiet. So that's an option. Frank Tillman, nice to have you here. Have you done any videos on number stations? Thanks. Yeah, I've got a few of them on number stations on the channel. Absolutely. So just use the search function on the channel and type number stations. You'll see a lot of the number stations videos I posted over time. Robert Prosper, nice to have you here. Problem is where you live in an apartment building surrounded by people with multitudes of power supplies. Yeah. In apartment buildings, condos, you often don't have any choice. Dmitry Lavrinovich, nice to have you here. VT Radio, nice to have you on board from the Essex Junction, Vermont. So these were the questions. That's pretty cool. Nice little questions that, it's crazy when we put ourselves in the noise and how much noise we have in our homes, and it gets really, really touchy. And if you live in a big city, you live in a noisy environment most of the time, and that's tough to deal with. And I think when a lot of people tell me, the internet is killing shortwave, personally, I don't think so. I think noise is killing shortwave. Imagine somebody coming to our hobby today that doesn't have that understanding and turns on the radio. What are they going to have? They're going to basically think there's nothing at all anymore, when there's really still a lot of stuff out there. I'm a little tired when people say, well, there ain't much to listen to now. Untrue. That's because you're not taking the time and examining what there is out there, because there's still quite a lot to listen to. There's really quite a lot. Just look at the EIBI space schedules of 24 hours. Look at all the things that are listed in there. There's a lot to listen to. And what limits it a lot more is the noise around you, much more than anything else. So, Douglas says, what are good band locations to listen to emergency communications from? Yeah, like I said, that's local. Listen to local AMs, the radio. You'll have all of that. Willie Troubles 88 says, any updates on the interval signal that was broadcast of Miami last week? Yeah, it's for a game called Call of Duty. And so it is a promotion that they did for the upcoming new game of Call of Duty. And they actually had some special packages sent out where you had the Call of Duty game, and it came with a Texan PL 880 receiver and instructions on how to tune the frequency you were listening to get that interval signal. And actually, there's a website that you could go to, and if you entered the numbers you were listening to, it would give you something. And I don't know if it was unlocking a level or whatever, but there's a website that's linked to that also, where you enter all the numbers that were sent out at that day. So it's a promotion for a game. Joseph Fitzgerald, nice to have you here from Boston, Massachusetts. So Douglas says, my first XH Data 808 is on its way. Cool. You're going to be happy. It's a great, great little portable. I still love mine. It's one of the top radios that for me, for sure. So, hey, everybody. I'm a little tired. I had a long day today. I had a lot of things to do. I will sign off for tonight after 2 hours and 30 minutes. We'll be back this Saturday, and it's going to be a little different Saturday. And I will not be doing the show from here. I'll be somewhere else. And with somebody that some of you know from the past, which is my nephew, Gabriel. And we'll be drinking sake, doing the live show, talking about radio a little bit. So it's going to be a different show. And we're going to, I think, have a little bit of fun on this Saturday show, which will be from a different location. I hope you enjoy. And well, of course, one of the things that is important to know is that so this Saturday show will be the last show of the year. I was looking at the schedules and looking at what I have to do. I'll be taking a Christmas break. So when this Saturday show airs, it's going to be the last one for the year. We'll be back after that on January 3rd on the VHF UHF channel with a show. And the first shortwave show, when we'll be back after Christmas, will be January the 6th, Wednesday, January the 6th, with our first show for shortwave of the new year. So hope to see you Saturday, and hope you all enjoy that, and hope that you enjoyed the show as usual. So take care, everybody. See you Saturday. If we don't see each other Saturday, have a great holiday season. Happy New Year. We'll be back in January. And if you're on Saturday, well, we'll be together for the last show of the year. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, and love you all. And for those that won't be there Saturday, have a great holiday season. Stay safe. Okay? Love you all. Take care.